I personally, of my own opinion, feel it's quite underdiagnosed, and I often find that the signs are quite severe in many cases. But let's start off with clarifying terminology, because lumbosacral disease, lumbosacral stenosis, cauda equina syndrome, this all kind of gets a bit murky. What are we talking about? Can you clarify
that? Sort of, probably, hopefully, maybe. I think the reason that there's lots of terms is that sometimes they refer to sort of quite different things, but they then also encompass a very similar thing. And what it is that the spine, the vertebrae, are fixed to the legs at the pelvis, at the sacrum. So you've got this really rigid fixed bit of the sacrum, and then you get to a very highly mobile bit, which is the lumbar spine. And that bit where the lumbar spine joins the sacrum, so the lumbosacral junction, that's got a lot of movement and a lot of stress on it. And so we get disease at the lumbosacral junctions. That's lumbosacral disease. Now, one of the problems we've got is that there are maybe quite a lot of differences between human manifestations of the disease, particularly because we're upright, and that we've got these two curves in our spine, the lumbar spinal curve and the sort of like cervical one. So we've got to have this posture, and if our weight bearing's out of alignment, we get quite a lot of back pain, whereas dogs are very, very different. As we know, they're very straight in their low back, sort of horizontal as they join the lumbar spine's horizontal as it joins the sacrum. So we don't necessarily get the same sort of signs of disease in that area as people do, but I think the terminology's got a bit mixed up. So if we talk just probably about dog lumbosacral disease, people tend to call it, I think, lumbosacral stenosis, and stenosis just means narrowing. And so lumbosacral stenosis is narrowing of the vertebral canal where the nerves of the cauda equina travel through from the lumbar spine to the sacrum. Now, we've talked about some picked slides I got handed me. I'm going to have to get my slides out.
This is how slick we are.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm busy doing it. I said I think I'll be able to do it without the slides, but I need the slides.
No, let's do the slides. You can imagine what it was like at uni with Tom. It was just so much fun. He's brilliant at blagging as well. Like in our lectures, he'd always have an answer and it'd just go on a little bit long.
Oh, would it? Oh, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that.
Right, let me share this. Okay.
Han, can you see my my screen here? So what I've got here is a bit of a diagram that I have made with my PowerPoint skills of the lumbosacral junction. And what we've got, there's a few important bits here. We've got the sacrum. This is sort of like you imagine the dog's lying on its side, looking up to the left. And these, can you see my cursor, Han?
Yes.
Yeah, so these are the lumbar vertebrae. And then this is the sort of wing of the pelvis, the iliac wing here. And L7 is the last lumbar vertebra. So we've got 5, humans have, but dogs have got 7. And what we can see here is a few things. First of all, there's what we call the cauda equina, which is all of the little nerves traveling in the vertebral canal here that go and supply the tail and the bladder and things like that. And you can see these nerves come out at each vertebral site here through a little thing called a foramen, which is the hole between the bones. And the cauda equina is called the cauda equina because it's like the tail of a horse, because in humans, the spinal cord ends about the middle of our back. And so all of the lumbar spine doesn't have spinal cord inside the vertebrae. It's got cauda equina, it's got nerve roots. You see lots of if you open up the back of someone, you'll see all these nerve roots looking like a horse's tail going down the back. But dogs are a bit different. Dog's spinal cord ends at about L5, L6, so somewhere about here. So all these nerve roots are quite short. So normally, if you get narrowing of the vertebral canal, so you slip a disc, if a dog slips a disc, it squashes the spinal cord, which paralyzes it, which is what we normally see. But in this area, and this is probably why the lumbosacral junction is so important and so different in dogs, is that if we get something bulging up into the canal here, it doesn't squash spinal cord, it squashes nerve roots